Jason Collins recently wrote a piece for Sports Illustrated, and the opening line was, "I'm a 34-year-old NBA center, I'm black, and I'm gay." Let's take a look at the video.
Today, NBA center Jason Collins became the first professional male athlete in a major American sports team to come out of the closet as being gay. In an exclusive piece in Sports Illustrated, he said, quote, "I didn't set out to be the first openly gay athlete playing in a major American team sport, but since I am, I'm happy to start the conversation. I wish I wasn't the kid in the classroom raising his hand and saying, I'm different. If I had my way, someone else would have already done this. Nobody has, which is why I'm raising my hand." Collins, who is 34, has spent 12 seasons in the NBA, playing for 6 different teams, most recently the Washington Wizards.
Now, Dave, this is the first major openly gay athlete. This is what we keep hearing over and over again, but we have a divide. We have some people who are saying, you know what, this shouldn't even be a big deal. Why are we focusing on it so much? There's other news to cover. We should focus on that. And then other people saying this is a big deal because it has to do with athletics. It has to do with something that Americans really value. And for a very long time, athletes have been afraid to come out. So which way do you lean on this?
Well, first off, I mean, it's absolutely huge. We needed this so badly. Every week in the news there is something else gay going on, whether it's DOMA or Prop 8 or some sort of marriage issue or somebody coming out of the closet. But it was always, well, when's the first athlete going to come out? That's what everyone's been saying. And it's funny how it works, because now this guy came out and he's a very marginal player at best. The guy scored 1 point per game last year. He's bounced around. He's old. He may never play again, actually. I mean, he's a free agent right now. But this was the step that needed to happen. It probably was not going to be a guy that was in the prime of his career that had a lot to lose. So Jason didn't have a ton to lose, but that doesn't take away from the bravery of what he did. And hopefully he comes back for one more year. And even if he just sits on the end of the bench, he did something. He furthered the conversation. And I think at the end of the day, I can tell you this as a gay person, we don't want to talk about this stuff all the time. Like, it has to just become what it is and then just let it go into the universe. And I think we're getting there. And hopefully he just pushed the envelope a little bit further, and 6 months from now we'll go, all right, a bunch of them came out and everyone's okay.
I feel like the country is starting to experience a little bit of like gay acceptance fatigue, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I love the point that you made about how you guys don't want to talk about it, but it's like this necessary thing, because look, we've seen great progress within the gay movement, and the reason why we've seen great progress is because, you know, the gay community has gotten together and they're pushing and they're fighting back, and it's the right way to do it.
If I can quote a little psychobabble here, you can't change until you become what you are. And I think that's what the gay community is struggling with, and that's why the fatigue, it's real. I mean, it really does exist. Anytime there's a gay story, you hear people saying, well, why do the gays keep talking about this? Why do we have to talk about this all the time? Trust me, gay people feel that way too. Give gay people equality, let there be an out athlete and an out news anchor and an out janitor, and then there'll be nothing to talk about, and then we'll all be okay.
Yeah, I look forward to that day.
Me
that
too.
day when we don't really care anymore. It's like, oh, it's the first woman to do this. Oh, it's the first African American to do that. Oh, it's the first Asian to do blah, blah, blah. You know, I'm looking forward to that day.
Yeah, we all did it.
When we don't care about that, when we're not
Yeah.
in that process yet, you know, we're still evolving as our own culture to be able to say, oh, that's right, these people are just, you know, how they look around the outside, or these little differences make no difference.
Yeah, when a state legalizes same-sex marriage, I want the country's reaction to be like, oh, what took them so long?
Exactly.
So, Hugo, what were your thoughts when he came out?
Well, you know, one of my thoughts, of course, was as a fan of women's sports, that so many women had come and done this before. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, while we pay homage to everyone from, you know, Martina Navratilova and Cheryl Swoops and others, it's really important to remember that our cultural expectation for female athletes, often unfairly, has been that female athletes are lesbians. Our cultural expectation for male athletes is that they're not gay. And so, with all due respect to Navratilova, to Swoops, to, you know, Brittany Griner, to so many other great women who have come out of the closet, for a male athlete to do that, actually, this is one of those rare times where when a man does something, it breaks more of a barrier than when a woman did it. Mm-hmm. Because while there is a lot of stigma against lesbians in sports, there is also this expectation, a very unfair one, that female athletes will be lesbians. For a man to do this in a very macho world that is so revoltingly, historically intolerant of gayness. This is huge. This is revolutionary. It does matter.
Desi, I haven't forgotten about you. I'm going to get to you in a second, but I have to ask Dave one more question, right? Okay, so...
Can we put professional gay on my chyron? Because
Chief
then
gay
it might...
correspondent?
Chief gay, yeah, exactly.
Well, you are gay, so you're perfect to comment on this
the
stuff,
entire
right?
populace.
Very professional.
Okay, so the question I want to ask you, Dave, has to do with, this person, like how some people didn't even expect him to be gay, right? So he had some family members, he mentions that when he came out to his aunt was like, yeah, I knew him. There was nothing surprising about that. But his own twin brother had no idea. And I think part of the reason why is because we have like these stereotypes of what gay guys are like, and he doesn't fit that stereotype. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, again, his brother, who is an NBA player as well. So, look, we don't expect gay people to play basketball, but gay people play basketball. They play golf. They do everything that straight people do. It's, it is a catch-22. This news breaks, and you're right. By the time that gay marriage, if it ends up getting kicked back to the states, let's say, by the time the 50th state does it, it should be a little blip in the news and nothing more than that. And that's hopefully how you show that real progression occurs.
One final question, Desi, I want you to tackle this. There are some accusations that the reason why he came out is because he's toward the end of his career. I know that 34 is not old by any means, but in the world of professional basketball, 34 is like ancient. And this is like a way for him to make money. What are your thoughts when it comes to these accusations?
I don't care. If that's the case, I don't care, because I think that for him to have been the one to stand up and put his hand up and say nobody else did it, so I'm going to do it, we will find out if it has been a career ender for him fairly soon. Correct me if I'm wrong, that's coming up shortly, isn't it? That he's a free agent now.
He's a free agent now, so they're going to decide in the next couple months. But I totally agree. Let the guy cash in. If he's the first one, so let somebody make a little dough off this. And there's
one more thing about this that I like, is that when you consider that back in 2004, Mayor of San Francisco Gavin Newsom was the first one to say, okay, fine, we're going to do gay marriages. He's now Lieutenant Governor of California. That was sort of the beginning, it seems to me, of this log jam on gay civil rights being broken. And it's remarkable how fast this has happened. And I love the fact that this is closing off all the exits of bigotry.
Yeah.
You cannot, it's becoming socially unacceptable, even more so now, to have bigotry against homosexuals. So
I love it.
There are great things that are happening. That's good.